Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Really cool news. If you guys didn't know, there's a new Berserk anime series that I'm going to be doing a couple videos for. As many as you guys want. And if you've never watched it before, you are in for something special. So just careful for spoilers from episode 1. What I'm going to do first is, for people that have never seen the series, I'm going to explain some of the backstory because this doesn't start with the beginning of the manga. This is a series that's adapted from manga. It has really dense mythology, so if you're really into Game of Thrones, sagas that are really hardcore with really dense mythology, this is like the perfect summer anime, and it's going to be airing weekly. It's 24 episodes total, it's streaming on Crunchyroll, and it's only about 22 minutes per episode, so it's a relatively low time investment. And I feel like the funny part in all this is, I do like a lot of WTF videos, is that almost like every moment in this anime series is a WTF moment. So I might have to change the way I do videos for it just a little bit from like the normal TV videos that I would do. It's almost like Game of Thrones if it were animated and everything were cranked up to 11, like it just got super crazy. So here we go, backstory for the series. So it's a series set in medieval times where this wandering mercenary takes up with a group. He wields this giant two-handed sword, and it's almost kind of like this Christ analogy, like he walks around bearing the cross. There's a lot of religious iconography in this, and like Game of Thrones, you have a lot of drama between the characters, like that's the A story. The B story is like the larger mythology and how they're involved in the supernatural things that are going on in the world. Because as the series picks up in what's called the Golden Age arc, that's basically what the title sequence is for this new anime. You see all these flashing images for stuff that doesn't appear in the episode. That's basically them telling you the Golden Age arc, all of the story up to the point where this episode 1 picks up. There is an original 1997 anime series based on this, but they retold that story in those first 3 films, and this is all recapped in the title sequence. So if you want to, you can go back and watch that, but you don't have to in order to understand what's going on in this episode. They're pretty good about explaining things. Like he explains it, the brand on him. Like at the end of the Golden Age arc, there was this really heinous act where his former best friend kind of transcends so that he can become an apostle of like the evil god of this world, or at least that this group called the God Hand believes is God. So they gain these crazy powers, but in order to do that, he has to sacrifice Guts and all of his friends. Guts survives along with his lover. There's this really crazy event called the Eclipse where Griffith activates his powers and becomes this dark apostle of this crazy god that you don't really see in the series yet. But up to this point, most of the series is about the friendship of Guts and Griffith, who develops this intense attachment to Guts as they travel together and work as mercenaries. But when he sees other people admiring Guts, he has this intense jealousy and he always acts out. So even though Griffith is kind of like the villain of the story when this new series picks up, he's this really tragic figure who came from nothing, was kind of trashed his whole life, but rose through the ranks, but always felt like an outsider, and eventually is thrown in prison. His body is destroyed over a long period of time. Guts and his friends rescue him eventually, but his soul is crushed. So he kind of gives this giant middle finger to humanity, activating his dark powers, sacrificing all of his former friends to do it. So now he becomes the villain of the story. So that's kind of a gross oversimplification, but the Golden Age arc, like the stuff that precedes this new series, is the story of the rise and fall of Guts and Griffith's friendship across all these wars that they fight in these supernatural forces like the God Hand. So as episode 1 picks up, you're kind of reintroduced to the characters. You find out that Guts' lover, who was scarred by the Eclipse, has gone mentally insane. He lost one of his arms. Like he had to chop one of his arms off. That's how hardcore he is in order to save his lover. So now he has a metal prosthetic that can also turn into a gun, which is just freaking badass. And he still carries around his giant sword. Now I can't emphasize enough, if you haven't seen the series, it is super hardcore. Like it deals with really heavy themes, but it is really cool and really rewarding if you stick it out. The animation is okay. It goes with the computerized animation that the films went with. It's not like the original 1997 anime series, so it takes a little getting used to depending on what your preference for animation style is. But even though in this episode, you really just see Guts traveling across the countryside without any clear goal, his ultimate goal is to kill his former friend, Griffith, who has turned into this monster with these dark powers. So the title of the episode, The Branded Swordsman, is all about the brand that he gets at the end of that Eclipse event so that evil can always find him. That's why he explains, as long as the mark is worn, the evil spirits will always be able to find him. They'll always be attracted to him. So the world he lives in is very dark. He's accepted that. He has this really fatalistic attitude toward it, like everything is futile, but I'm going to continue fighting on. He's a really extreme version of your prototypical anime hero. It's not so much like the One Punch character who's kind of questioning where he fits into the world. He's like, what do? I have all this power, but what does it all mean? Guts is not like that. He completely understands where he fits into this world. He knows exactly what's going on and what he's trying to do. The elf, Puck, is kind of like his companion that highlights the goodness in him. Despite how crazy he sounds in this episode, he actually has a good heart, and the elf is just there to shine a light on it. Like, yeah, things are really bad, but there is still hope. So he's kind of like the soul of hope in the story. So I don't know exactly how far they're going to take this story into the manga, but what I'm expecting from the next couple of episodes is them to just continue world building in this post-Eclipse world. The real story, as you can imagine, is like, will Guts ever be able to find happiness? Will he ever be free of the mark, free of the demons? Will he be able to help his former lover? Will he either kill his friend Griffith or will he restore him? Because, right now he's like this mutated apostle of this crazy god. So you have one or two options there. You can kill him or you can bring him back. Just like Game of Thrones, this is one of those series that's adapted from manga, so you can read ahead if you want. You can learn what happens. I think this anime is going to be fairly faithful to that story. So if you do want to read ahead, like if you really like to do that, then you can totally go out and search for the manga. But the story that the new episodes are telling is not story that they've done before, like in the previous anime or in the previous OVA films. So I'll say, probably just my favorite moment from the episode is the demon tree coming to life and eating those other two bandits that were originally trying to kill Guts. Like, the story they tell is a good example for how deep the mythology is. Like, I used to hear they would nail people's guts to this tree and then make them run around. So you see all these nails in the tree. But then later you see like the entire tree come to life and just eat them both and consume their souls. So not for the faint of heart, but if you do stick it out, it's actually a really rewarding story. So let me know what you guys thought of the episode, and let me know if you want me to do weekly videos. But I'm happy to explain any of the more dense concepts or characters or any of the backstory that you guys want. So be sure to subscribe to get everything. Just let me know what kind of Berserk things do you guys want me to talk about. Like if you just want me to do episode videos or if you want me to explain specific concepts. The new episodes post each Friday, so that's probably when my videos will post. They'll post like Friday night or Saturday morning or something like that. So be sure to check it out. Get hype. Once I get a little bit deeper into it, I'll make a playlist just for Berserk videos, but until then, I'm just going to jam this in the normal playlist with all the other videos. So while you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here for all my Game of Thrones Season 7 predictions, and you can click here to learn about what I think is going on with the Flash Season 3 villain. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.